Good afternoon, Charles.
Good afternoon, Joe.
First of all, thank you for coming to Cleveland. We truly appreciate it. And many people don't realize the magnitude and the importance of the National Association of Realtors. And so I think you bring importance to this City Club. But one area that you discussed throughout your entire speech was the residential market. And for those of us who, who are in the commercial market, it's a very critical area. And many people should know, the audiences and so forth, what we as a National Association are doing to help commercial markets.
Thank you very much. And Joe, I've been heartened by seeing the tremendous amount of investment in the commercial market here in Houston and in Cleveland with the revitalization and what have you. We're testifying again in Congress with help. There's a particular element of the commercial market in which you see the huge buildings around here. It is typical in many markets, because the ownership is probably here, that the people have 50% equity in these hundreds of millions of dollars of structures. And there's a revolving account type of situation in that every 3 to 5 years, that 50% equity, the loan amount is automatically renewed. Many people don't know that. But what has happened in this crisis, when we look at money, the terms for borrowing money is based on risk. When you look at many of these commercial ventures being very profitable, high-level operators, and only having 50% exposure to loss, there are no safer loans other than money kept in your pocket. So millions of commercial owners have been noticed over the country that when your loan comes due, we're not going to renew it. And that has created a huge crisis. In the past 2 years, at the beginning of the past 2 years, there were, I've got the figures here, over $100 billion in loans made commercially. Last year, less than $5 billion has been made. And the next crisis, I would say for those in commercial who know, the current crisis is in commercial real estate. I've heard people characterize it as the other shoe to drop. I've testified before Congress asking them to use a separate fund that many people have not heard about, known as the TALF, T-A-L-F. The TALF funds to provide that money to institutions so that they may take over and make these loans to very sound commercial entities. That, Joe, is one of the areas that we're addressing. And again, we're addressing as well the lending institutions to loosen, again, the credits. They already have billions that they can ease this commercial lending market.
Hi, Mr. McMillan. We all know that there are new federal regulations that are tightening standards for appraisers, and I really understand why that was necessary. But what those of us in the industry are saying is the regulations are so restrictive that they're not allowing for this nascent recovery and a slight increase of values. There's no way that they can appraise a house today to account for the beginnings of an upswing. And I'm wondering what the National Association of Realtors is doing to work with Fannie and Freddie, who I think impose these new regulations, to redirect them so this unexpected consequence will not slow our recovery.
Thank you, ma'am. You're making reference to a group of rules called the HVCC, an acronym for Home Value Code of Conduct. And I'm thrilled you brought that up, because The acceptance, if you will, not passage, of the Home Value Code of Conduct has brought about some unintended but not unexpected consequences. The Home Value Code of Conduct came about because of the Attorney General in New York threatening legal action against the GSEs, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and they acquiescing by signing an agreement which, in effect, caused them to make de facto law. Please forgive me, counsel, because I'm going in an area that I have little to no familiarity, law for the entire country. So when you have an Attorney General making law for the entire country, that becomes problematic for most people. The problem has been with the interpretation. The intent of the Home Value Code of Conduct is to make sure that in the appraisal practices that we had entities and individuals who were honest, that appraisers were not put upon unnecessarily either by the lender or the home buyer or the realtor to change valuations that in their professional judgment was correct. Well, the unintended consequence came about because there's so many myths surrounding what the HVCC is and is not. I made a trip to the Attorney General's office in New York, spoke with their staff. We talked about those myths. The National Association of Realtors did print out information and sent out information regarding the HVCC and those myths. And subsequent to that, so has the Attorney General's office of New York, so has the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, after visiting with Director Lockhart, who is the head of FHFA. That's important because some of the problems has been appraisers being hired from out of the area who did not know the area, who did not know the market. In fact, what we say one of the unintended consequences has been is that it's created the very problems it was designed to prevent. So they created these pools so that there would be a firewall between lenders needing to call an appraiser to appraise a property that they're going to make a loan on, and these opportunistic group that formed appraisers got people who perhaps ordinarily couldn't get a job appraising properties, and they've not done a really good job at it. So again, thank you for your question. We continue to monitor that and work toward correcting that.
Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we have been listening to Charles McMillan, President of the National Association of Realtors. Thank you, Mr. McMillan. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This forum is now adjourned.
For information on upcoming speakers or for podcasts of the City Club, go to cityclub.org.